let's just cut to the chase. Please welcome on stage Brent Handler. He's the founder and CEO of Inspirato. Thank you for joining us, Brent.
You bet.
For those of you who don't know Brent, he has a really long history in the luxury vacation club business. He founded Exclusive Resorts in 2002. He sold it. And in 2011, you founded your new company, Inspirato. It's rents luxury vacation homes to affluent customers. And when I say luxury, I mean really luxury. Go look it up on your app. It's luxury. And it's really been quite successful. As I understand it, your core business has 15,000 paying members, I think over 200 million revenue, and you told me profitable?
Yes.
It's very, very impressive.
Real profitable, not creatively profitable, but actually profitable.
And so despite that success, though, you recently launched this new product. It's called Inspirato Pass. It's a subscription for travel. So things are going so well. Why the need to launch a new product? It's like a Hail Mary. Is this Holy Grail? I mean, what's the deal there?
Yeah, so, I've been kind of obsessed for last 4 or 5 years thinking about how could we create some kind of ultra premium product for a consumer that wants simplicity when they travel and they want more value. Obviously, you run into lots of problems with opacity around hotels and discounts. So after some false starts several years ago, we started Inspirato Pass in earnest in January, building the tech and aggregating the supply. And Inspirato Pass is endless travel for $2,500 a month with no nightly rates, taxes, or fees. So it's as simple as it sounds. The only kind of things to remember when using Inspirato Pass, it's simple as look, book, stay, repeat. So if you remember the old Netflix model where you could get a new DVD, right, as soon as you sent back your old DVD, or in current terms, if you're familiar with how Rent the Runway works on their subscription, it's exactly the same. So if I wanted to use Inspirato Pass, and let's say I wanted to go to Key West, South Carolina, October 10th to the 13th, on the 13th of October, the day of checkout, I could book my next trip as early as 1 week from that day, so as early as October 20th, and that's it. And we've curated and built proprietary patent-pending technology that creates this list. There's currently 73,000 trips available at Inspirato.com, and it's working extremely well. We have found that affluent customers really, really appreciate the simplicity and the fun of being able to have this type of benefit in their back pocket, so to speak, with their phone.
Because it is an affluent customer base, does that potentially risk cannibalizing your existing customer base? Because you have this membership business, and now you have your Pass subscription business. Yeah,
so our base business, we have 15,000 customers. It costs $20,000 to join Inspirato, plus $3,600 per year in dues. And then, in addition to that, you pay for nightly rates. So think about that as the a la carte menu on the, at the breakfast menu. So peak times are more expensive than off-season, and more days cost more than less days, et cetera. And that business works really well for people that want to plan and want exactly what they want. And the new business, of course, works well for people that can travel more, but also are looking to experience more of the world and really just want the simplicity of a subscription. Netflix is a great example, right? If you had to pay for every movie on Netflix, you'd be more discretionary about what you watch. But if you're like me, you sort of scroll through, and say, no, I'll try this one. It's worth it. I'll take 2 minutes of my time to see if I like it. And you just consume differently when it's a subscription.
And the passes are selling well?
Yep, so far so good. I mean, every day we're selling hundreds of thousands of dollars of Inspirato passes, and people are using it a lot. And the model is definitely sustainable. It's working. It's really great kind of in 3 vectors. It works well for us because we have our own supply. Inspirato manages and controls 300 homes the same way a luxury hotel brand would control their inventory. So we need a place to be able to distribute our inventory without discounting the price. It works really well for hotels because they're able to sell to us, and then we have perfect opacity for their inventory. So if we're buying hotel inventory at a discount, nobody knows the price that we're paying for it. And it also works well for the pass holder who's able to enjoy that excess value without having to worry about how come the nightly rate might be this or might be that.
So let's talk a little bit, like, little deeper dive how it's structured, because you said trips. So I think that was a conversation we were having, backstage. Like,
Sure.
In order to make the subscription work, you had to switch to this trips model instead of this counter model. So tell us a little bit how you've figured that out.
Sure. So the way the algorithm works, we shop rate and date combinations, tens of millions of them, and those are for specific trips. So think about it could be the Baccarat Hotel for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And if it meets the criteria in the algorithm, the price we're willing to spend, the cancellation policy, et cetera, it makes it onto this list. So the way Pass works is you choose a specific trip, one of these 73,000 trips that are on the platform right now. What you don't do is say, I want to go to New York, I want to stay at the Four Seasons, and I want to go October 1st through the 4th. It's the opposite of that. We show you where you're able to consume, and you consume what we have created. Now, when we first started, everybody thought that I was totally crazy. It was not unusual for me, but this time they really thought that I was crazy because they said, the list will be too restrictive. And what I said was, not if the list is big enough. It won't be restrictive if the list is big enough, because it's not restrictive on Spotify, it's not restrictive on Netflix. And so we're all about bringing in excellent hotel partners and experiential partners, and the more partners we bring, the greater value we bring to pass holders.
How many partners have you started working with?
So we have a couple hundred hotels, plus we have 300 Inspirato homes on the platform today, and we're actively creating new direct relationships with hotels, and we're working with some wholesalers and some third-party suppliers as well to bring in additional hotel partners. All completely opaque, obviously, because there is no nightly rate. You pay your subscription and you can travel to the hotel. And with hotels, on our site or on our app, when you view a particular hotel, when you look for more information, it takes you directly to the hotel's website. So we don't even contemplate price or even attempt to show what, for example, bar is. We just take them directly to the site. We're not worried that they're going to book at the site like most OTAs are, because if they bypass, it's free with us because they paid their subscription, so they always come back and book with us.
Yeah, so you guys are kind of bringing back opaque travel. I know, like Name Your Own Price, a lot of those opaque channels had a moment, and then they kind of...
That's right, at a higher level and a more sustainable mechanism, because the previous opaque models really required, at the end of the day, the consumer to find out the price or the hotel to have to make that in some way shareable. But obviously in a subscription there is no price, so it works much better, and we're getting very good response from our hotel partners and other suppliers.
So if the secret to travel subscription is this like opaque model, and you guys have your trip-based inventory, are we going to see copycats, or are you're going to expand? You're going to offer more hotels? Like what's the next?
Well, I don't know on copycats. There's probably some people in the audience that find this intriguing. It's not historically the most innovative of industries, frankly. So what we're doing is pretty hard, and what we're doing is pretty unique in the luxury segment. But I would not at all be surprised that travel, a massive consumer category, somehow, some way, over time, starts to have a subscription component. That would not be crazy for me. Inspirato would like to kind of play its part in that transformation.
Now, I feel like, subscriptions definitely having a moment. It's on everyone's lips, and I counted. I was prepping for this. How many subscriptions do I have? And it was a lot. I started maybe thinking cancel stuff. So subscription fatigue seems to be like the next level of that, and this is a very expensive subscription. So are you worried with that? Do you have a plan of that? Do you have a sense of what like your churn looks like, or is it too early to tell?
So with Pass, there's a 6-month commitment, and we beta tested in Northern California and Colorado starting in June. So we don't have anybody that's made it 6 months. We've assumed what we think the churn will actually be. But at the end of the day, subscriptions work if consumers feel like they're getting immense value. If they don't feel like they're getting immense value, they cancel. It's no different than Netflix or Rent the Runway or your Comcast or whatever cable you may have cut or haven't cut yet. You basically want to get value for your subscription. So I feel like my job is to create the maximum amount of value in our subscription that we can, and we're going to continue to invest very heavily into all types of experiential ways that our customer can find great things to do in the world.
So it sounds like it's been very successful. It's taken off. So is that going to take inventory off the board for your membership model, or no?
No, not really. Like it's a concentric circle, right? So existing members are able to book our homes, and so are pass holders if it fits into the algorithm. But obviously, we're only one of many distributors for hotels, so there's sort of infinite capacity on the hotel side. So supply, running out of supply isn't the challenge. It's getting more supply into our system that's the challenge.
Well, and you're not worried that might like dilute the brand, so to speak? Like, would you start adding lower market?
No, I mean, it's really 4+ in using hotel lingo. Yeah. It's 4+ stars and above. But when you have 200 of them and there's more than 2,000 of them, there's all types of ways for us to be better partners to hotels, and for hotels, frankly, to be better partners with us once they understand how subscriptions work. The great thing about subscriptions is they really work like this in terms of retention. So we think we can be important to our hotel partners as we continue to gain scale and gain customers and momentum.
You guys have pretty impressive annualized recurring revenue already, right?
We're pleased with how it's how it's gone. I mean, like I said, we're generating hundreds of thousands of dollars in annual recurring revenue every day, and that's pretty good considering we started with 0 annual recurring revenue. So.
Yeah, and you started in January.
Well, no, we started in July. So we tested from June 3rd to July 15th, and we did a national launch on July 15th. Okay. So it's middle of September, right? So a couple months.
Yeah. All right, so it's interesting. Now, I know that some other companies have tried subscriptions before, and we were talking about this a bit. Like, it kind of, like, I know airlines have looked into, like, all-you-can-fly kind of stuff, and consumers tend to maybe abuse something that they don't have to pay for, that overuse it.
Sure.
How are you ensuring that you're making this profitable for yourself?
Yeah, we're quite certain that based upon the algorithm we built and the structure that we put in place, that this is profitable for us. It's not overly profitable, so it's not a good consumer proposition, but there's lots of mechanisms within this structure that make it sustainable for us. And I really feel like it has to be, as I said, a win-win-win. It has to work for our suppliers, work for our pass holders, and work for us. And we have zero doubt that this is going to end up being sort of a high flyer, but wasn't able to sustain economically. It absolutely works for us. Our whole goal is to make it better for the pass holder and to sell more passes.
Yeah. What has been maybe the most surprising learning from this experiment? Like, I know you thought a lot going into this. You built custom technology, patent-pending technology. What didn't you plan for?
It turns out it's really difficult to gain a lot of hotel partners at scale. Yeah. I underestimated the challenge of connectivity and building the relationships that are necessary for scaling something at this pace. So if you are the owner of inventory of 5-star resorts or experiences, please come find me. We're buyers in an opaque manner.
It's a good pitch. It's a good pitch for suppliers, right?
Yes.
Well, all right. Brent Handler, thank you so much for coming and joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.